everyone. I'm going to show you how to do the calculation for today's lab. I open my Excel spreadsheet, and on the first column I've copied the temperature in Celsius, and I use only the last 4 results that I go from the experiment. And then on the B column, as you can see, is the different value of the pH. Notice, as I mentioned before, that the pH decrease when the temperature increase because the reaction is the following, okay? Magnesium hydroxide will have in equilibrium, which is a solid, in equilibrium with the magnesium ion in solution plus 2 mole of OH for every mole of magnesium hydroxide. So the KSP will be equal to the concentration of magnesium times the concentration of OH to the power of 2. So this is just to refresh you how we are going to do the calculation. So we need to find the concentration of OH, which is twice the concentration of magnesium. So you want to use a variable, I will say x times 2x x squared. And if we find this, then we can solve for KSP and then do the rest. So let's start by writing another equation. You have the pH plus POH equal 14. And then if I want to find the POH, which is is related to the concentration of OH, will be 14 minus pH. And there is another formula that I wrote to, I gave you that formula for finding the concentration of OH, which is the following. Concentration of OH will be equal 10 to the power of POH. That's another important formula for all these calculations. So let's start doing some different calculation on the Excel spreadsheet. So the first thing will be finding POH, and I mentioned before that will be 14 minus pH. So my equation will be equal 14 minus the pH, which is this one, and I hit enter, and that will be the POH. Dragging all the way down, and that will be the, let me increase 1 0 here. Yeah, that will be the POH, which is related to the concentration of OH. And don't forget, what I did was the following. Using this equation here, pH plus POH 14, POH 14 minus pH. So this formula is 14 minus the pH. Next thing is finding the concentration of OH, and that will be 10 to the power raised of a negative, because that will be negative POH, and that will be C2. Hit enter, and then dragging the formula all the way down, it will recalculate the rest. Okay, let me make a little bit bigger the column. Next thing is finding the KSP. How? Using this formula. The concentration of OH, let me write on the whiteboard. Concentration, let me get the pencil. Okay, concentration of OH will be 2 times the concentration of magnesium. How do I know that? Because for every mole of magnesium hydroxide that will be ionizing, you will get 1 of magnesium but twice the OH. So if you divide the concentration of OH over 2, that will be the concentration of magnesium ion. And that's something we need to keep in mind when finding pH. So we had the concentration of OH we need to raise that one to a square. So let me go to the formula. I will say equal this value divide 2. That will be the magnesium concentration. Let me put parentheses because that will be easier to do that. Then I had to multiply by D2 again because D2 is the concentration of OH, but D2 has to be raised to the power of 2. Why is that? Remember, the first D2 divided 2 is the concentration of magnesium, which is half of the OH, and the second one is the concentration of OH. Hitting enter, and I go, this is the value of KSP. That's the value of KSP. And again, for those of you who didn't know how, the way I got this value is the following. KSP will be 1 time magnesium and OH to the power of 2. I have already the concentration of OH, which is 2 times the concentration of magnesium 2. And then if I want to find magnesium, I do the following. OH over 2 equal magnesium. And then what I do is the following. OH over 2, which is magnesium, times OH squared. And that's my formula here. If you check D2, which is the concentration of OH, divide 2 times D2 squared. So the next thing is converting the Celsius in Kelvin. That will be an easy calculation. I select the Celsius, which is 33.7, the first one, plus 273, and hit enter. And then dragging the formula to F5, it will recalculate all the Kelvin. And the next thing is dividing 1 over T, but in Kelvin. So that will be my X value on the axis. So that will be 1 divided T, which is this one. And then again, redoing the calculation. Next thing is finding the natural law of the KSP. This is the KSP, so we need to graph this column G versus the column H. The G column will be my X value and the column H will be my Y value. So that will be equal natural law and then parentheses for selecting the one I want to find the natural law of KSP and hit enter and I go negative number here. And again, driving all the way down, I got the following value. Next thing is graphing, finding the trend line for that I need to insert. I will select the scatter one, this one here, and those are my point. You see that looks more like a straight line, not exactly a straight line, but on the y-axis, I had the value of the natural law of KSP, and on the x value, I had I can bring down if you want. Let me see if I can. No, I don't think. Yeah, but the x value is the 1 over t. I graph this one x. This is my x, and this is my y value. Next thing will be finding the trend line. At the trend line, this is the one. And the next thing will be display the equation. And here is my equation for the straight line, for the right line, this one here, straight line, sorry. And I want to make bigger, this is my equation. I'm going to copy that. Let's see how can I copy or select, maybe if I select all of that, and taking to my whiteboard. So this is all for the calculation with Excel. Why we need this one? Go back to the whiteboard here. I'm going to paste this equation here. And on the procedure, you have the following. I have my procedure in front of me, and I will do the following calculation. First, the natural law, you can check that on your own, okay? Equal, the y will be the natural law of k. The slope that will be this one will be negative delta H over R, and then the intersect will be, this one will be delta S. Actually, on the formula I have a positive number, but this one become negative, okay? Delta S over R. R is given on the, let me make bigger this one. So let's solve for, they ask you for finding delta H. My delta H, which is the enthalpy over R, equal 5,469. Remember, those are my own experimental value. You don't have to have the same value for your calculation. And R is also given on the problem. R for my is 8 point. So this one is negative delta H over the value R will be 8.3145 joule mole Kelvin, right? Because X is 1 over T. That's the value of X, 1 over T. So Kelvin and Kelvin cancel out. So that will be joule mole, okay? So this is canceled with the T here. And that's why it will be joule mole. So the next thing is solving for delta H. I can also, that will be 5,469. And delta H will be negative 8.3145 times the value of my slope. That will be just doing that calculation. Again, you don't have to get the same value because it depends on the temperature, the pH. And for finding delta S, you do the following. Delta S over R will be equal to negative 48.844, and then you go the value of R, which is the same. You have to multiply time R, which is 8.3145, and that will be the value of delta S. So that's all you need to do for the calculation. This is your equation, and that's all. And feel free to email me if you have any other question. Otherwise, just submit your lab report on Sunday night. Bye, and thank you for watching.